So we just talked about how deep the AFC is this year. No deeper pool than the AFC West. Easily the toughest division in football now that Russell Wilson is there and so many other new additions from Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. And we all know how many people have entered this division. Kansas City, less Tyreek Hill, but so on and so forth. They have gotten a ton of talent on their team. That said, David, do you know who I have chosen to beat all of them in the AFC West this year? Are you aware of that?
If we're vibing the way I think that we are talking about the Jets, then I'm going to hope that you're speaking about a team in Las Vegas.
I am speaking about a team in Las Vegas, and I've gotten a ton of crap for it. But
I got any crap last night for putting the Jets in the playoffs, Rich.
You know what? I don't know if we understand if we knew we're scratching each other's backs in a way, David, but we kind of are, because I do love the addition of Chandler Jones to go with Max Crosby, and then Davante Adams to hook up with your brother again. It's such a rarity to have a quarterback wide receiver relationship that's new but not new at all, right? So
it's so rare, and it's been something that they've tried to make happen for 5 years now, since Davante signed his contract extension several years ago with the Packers. Derek was pushing to get him there, and Davante was really close, man. I mean, that a couple years ago they were really close to making that happen, and so for it to actually happen, I remember I was actually sitting on set at the NFL Network when it went through with James Jones, and James was obviously sad because he's a Packer,
right?
But it was almost surreal, because like you said, it never really happens that you absolutely get to pull off something like this, where guys that have known each other since they were essentially teenagers get to play, and obviously have gotten to the points they've gotten in their career and now find themselves back together. I look at the Raiders, and to kind of validate your point, when I try to look at them, just objectively, like how is this going to work out? And from a quarterback standpoint, I always look at matchups. That's what this league is, and we hear that all the time. But literally, that's what it comes down to. And so you already have, and Foster Moreau said this to me the other day. He was out here working out with some of the kids in our high school team, and he was out on the field right here, about 100 feet where I'm at, and he said, you already have two guys that are basically unguardable, Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. Like, they create the unique matchup issues for the defense. And now you add Davante Adams. How do you cover them down? So that's the main issue. And Derek's as good as anybody. If he has a quality that is elite, for me, it's the ability to recognize what the defense is in, what they're trying to do, and get the ball as quickly as possible to his best matchup. And that's what he does. And now he's loaded with an offensive play caller. That's all they've done for 20 years, is find matchups and exploit them. So I don't necessarily see a situation where the Raiders are going to go into a game and not have a favorable matchup on the outside. So anything can happen. The trenches, obviously, Khalil Mack and what the Chargers have done up front. I mean, they're formidable, so they're going to have to protect. But I mean, from a just a player standpoint, I love their chances against anybody.
So why does your brother and Davante Adams vibe so well, do you think? I mean, because again, you knowing their history and how much they mean to each other personally, you might have been one of the few people not totally shocked that Davante Adams leaves Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers in back-to-back MVP seasons to go to a totally new spot. So fill in some of the blanks if you don't mind.
No problem. I mean, well, I think that from the moment that they got together in Fresno, it was a unique situation because Davante came to Fresno and visited there and basically signed with Fresno State because of Derek. And so from the moment that they met on his recruiting trip, they hit it off. They just have a unique bond, and they're best friends. And Davante, even before they made the move to Vegas. So first of all, in the Bay Area, he bought a house right next to Derek. They worked out in the off season. They trained together, even when Davante was in Green Bay. Same thing. Derek moves to Vegas. Davante moves to Vegas. And this was about a month before the whole thing went down, where he joined up. So they've just had a unique bond. They've always gotten along well. I mean, and then the chemistry on the field is I think the biggest thing. So there's guys that are quarterback friendly from a wide receiver perspective. There's guys that you like to throw to. But then there's like this different level that these guys have always had. And I asked Derek after their first workout, as official teammates again in Las Vegas. He's driving back home, and they're both in the car together. They FaceTimed, and so I said, "How'd it go?" And Derek's like, "Every ball is 6 inches in front of his chest." It's just a natural thing. So he understands Davante. They also share that affinity for Davante is very confident. He's a very confident receiver, and Derek, every receiver that Derek has ever talked to me about, he's compared to Davante Adams. Every receiver, he's like, he does this like Davante. It's always been that way. So I think that's the biggest thing. They have affinity for each other's ability. Derek loves Davante's athleticism. Has always felt like he's hands down the best receiver he's ever played with. He's said that since he was 19 years old, and it hasn't changed a decade later. So I'm excited to see these guys play together, man. It's gonna be a lot. I'm excited for the country, because when they're at Fresno, a lot of people saw him play, but I'm excited for the actual NFL family and community to get a chance to watch these guys, because it's gonna be a blast.
Wow. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here